everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Jack and I am a stock investor based in Hertfordshire in the UK. Now in this kickoff video I want to go over my ISA portfolio. I have maxed out my ISA for this year and last year, and I'm going to continue maxing out my ISA for as long as I possibly can. So for those of you in the US maybe watching this video, this is the equivalent to a Roth IRA. In the UK we have a £20,000 a year limit. If we go into here, you can see you have £20,000 a year limit, and I have maxed that out for this year. Now we're able to invest every single year from the 6th of April to the 5th of April in the next year, because that's when the financial year runs from. Now essentially it works the exact same as a Roth IRA. Everything in this account and all the gains is tax-free. So for example, if I was to cash out my iShares Global Clean Energy right now, I'm up about 7%, £115. I could cash that out and that £115 is mine. That is completely tax-free. However, I am not planning to cash any of this out for a long time. Yes, I will probably make some changes and make some trades in this portfolio, selling and buying some new shares over time. However, I do not plan on selling any of my stocks in this portfolio for a long time, or cashing out and pulling money and withdrawing funds essentially. So with that being said, in this first video, I want to be going over my ISA portfolio to show you all essentially what I do have. Now, one thing to mention is that I am 21 years old, based in the UK, so fairly young. I started investing when I was 18 years old in the stock market. However, recently I do own my own business. That is how I'm able to invest 20k a year. It's because I have my own business here in the UK. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, I also do have a dividend portfolio, which I will be showing in my next video. So for you US people, that will be a lot more relevant to you as well, because that's, well, all of these are relevant, but essentially my dividend portfolio is separate to my ISA. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. So I have got an ETF. I do have this dividend pie, so I was invested in these dividend stocks on here as well, including Apple, Unilever, Realty Income, Johnson & Johnson, Pepsi, Imperial Brands, Coca-Cola, AT&T, Altria Group, Intel, British American Tobacco, and BCE. However, I did sell out all of these stocks and moved them to my general investing account, as well as on Trading212. So I do use the Trading212 brokerage. I like it. I like the UI, and I use that for my ISA. So as we see here, we can see that I have made about £153 in dividends so far this year. This has all been invested over the last few months. As you can see, I did start investing in this in around March this year, and you can see we kind of climb this up with a lot of deposits, and then I put a lump sum of about 20k in here just a few months ago. So yeah, let's go ahead and show you my ETF portfolio. So you can see I'm currently sat in Vanguard S&P 500, iShares Global Clean Energy, FTSE 100, and the FTSE All World High Dividend Yield. I have a FTSE Emerging Markets ETF, iShares Physical Gold, and iShares Global Water. So I'm going to go over my picks and why I've decided to essentially invest in these. So first things first, being Vanguard S&P 500. As you can see, I have about £8,500 in here, which is my largest allocation. You can see 50% of everything goes into the S&P 500. Now, the reason I've done that, you're probably thinking, why have you got 50% of your portfolio in the S&P 500? Well, my thought process for this is because I'm betting on the US market. Okay, if the US crashes, of course this money goes to zero, but there's bigger things to worry about if the US market comes down. Okay, so I do believe in the US market overall. Of course, it's the one of the richest countries in the world, one of the biggest countries in the world, and the US is kind of like just the global economy, right? It's all sort of tailored around the US market. You can argue with that, but in my opinion. So yeah, that's why 50% of that is in the US market in the S&P 500. I have 10% in Global Clean Energy. I do believe in Global Clean Energy long term. That is why I have 10% in there. FTSE 100, I'm based in the UK. I thought I'd have some exposure to the UK market. Now the FTSE 100, for those of you that don't know, is the top 100 companies based in the UK. So that's why we have that there. I also have All High World Dividend Yield. So the reason I have this stock here is because I want some exposure to dividends in this portfolio as well. Now I do believe they pay about 3% a year, which is pretty nice. Pretty nice, 3% a year on this. But again, that is a very, very small holding of mine. only being about 10%, but at the moment it's only 3% because I did only add this to my portfolio very, very recently and started investing in it. We then have a FTSE emerging markets, currently set at 13% allocation. So yeah, again, emerging markets, I believe in long term. I think there's a lot of markets coming up right now, a lot of countries that are just emerging. So I am invested in that because I do believe in some of those countries long term. We have physical gold. You know, again, this is all a long-term portfolio. So I do believe that gold, of course, is going to keep rising as time goes on. It's a very finite metal. There's only a certain amount of it in the world. So I believe that is a good bet as well to have some allocation there. I also do hold a very small amount of physical gold. A physical amount of gold as well. Now I also have a global water ETF. So this global water ETF, the reason that I hold this one is because this tracks the overall, water companies, right? Everyone needs water always. There's always going to be a flow of water. So this just tracks water companies globally. Okay, so that is why I have chosen to invest in that. So as we can see, if we take a look at the chart again, I started investing around March this year. And I was up, let's see here, actually, let's go over the last year. You can see the most amount that I've made from this portfolio was about 6% when I only had 15K invested. However, we're in a bit of a choppy market and we're currently down a little bit, but we're sort of breaking towards that break-even amount. Now, I do only have about £17,000 invested out of my 40,000 total. So I do have about £23,051 left to go ahead and invest in free funds. Now, I don't like this number. I don't like keeping this in cash. I want to get that invested. However, my plan with this, instead of just doing a massive lump sum of, the 23K, which would give me a massive boost in my holdings, of course, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to dollar cost average this every single day until the next tax year. So as you know, we have until about the 5th of April to go ahead and invest this before the next ISA allocation starts, and then I'll chuck another lump sum in next April, which will bring this to £60,000. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to dollar cost average this over the next 6 months, and I've worked it out to be about £130 a day in terms of buying some stock. So I have gone ahead and done my £130 today in terms of buying. So yeah, there we go, guys. I am going to be documenting my journey. You can see we did actually. So actually, yeah, today, over the last week, we can see the portfolio has been a bit choppy. So we were actually up about 0.36%. Then we lost a massive amount of money. We were down over 4%. And as you can see, we're back up to about break even. So in the last week, we've kind of regained about £600 worth of my portfolio, which is nice to see. This did worry me slightly when everything crashed, and that was due to, of course, the FX markets dropping. The pound was actually equal to $1, which was crazy. So yeah, and there you go. There is my portfolio in terms of how it has been so far. So a bit of a choppy ride. However, I have only been invested in this portfolio for a few months, been adding to it, and I do continue to plan to add it to it, as time goes on, of course. Now, let me know down below what your thinking is around my portfolio. Is there anything that you'd change? What do you think about my allocation here, and what do you think about these ETFs? If there's any that you'd recommend me look into in terms of ETFs, I only really want to invest in ETFs in this ISA portfolio because it's a long-term one. I don't really want to make bets on single stocks. However, I am a massive advocate and fan of dividends, and I do believe a lot of these do pay dividends. You can see we've actually gained about £153.44 in dividends so far, and I've got dividend income will be reinvested. I have that on, so I'm going to continue to reinvest the dividends back into the ETF portfolio. Guys, that's going to be it for this first video. If you have enjoyed, make sure you do smash the like button, subscribe down below if you are new. It really does help out the channel. I want to build this as much as we possibly can and share the information around. I'm going to be giving you my portfolio tips and just a bit of a future about the channel. I'm going to be doing some stock stuff, and then I'm also going to be talking about a bit about my business and how I personally make money online to be able to fund my stock portfolio, because long term I do have a SIP as well, a self-invested personal pension, I do believe it stands for, which I'm not allowed to touch that money until I'm 58. I'm adding about £2,000 a year into that one, compounded over the next 38 years, about 800k. So when it comes to retirement, I'll be looking at about 800k, hopefully on an average return of 10% a year in the stock market. So that's something that I may touch on. I may go into some of those funds that I've picked in there. I currently only have about 3, which some of them are in this portfolio. And yeah, guys, that's going to be it for the video. I'm going to be sharing information about my stock accounts, the ISA, plus my dividend portfolio, which I'm going to be doing a massive investment of about $100,000 or £70,000. Well, it's not quite $100,000, but about £70,000 into my dividend portfolio over the next couple of months. So I'm going to document that as well. And I'm also just going to be sharing my journey, looking for tips, what you guys are thinking as well. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new, and plenty more videos coming. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.